What's up, everyone? Today we're going to be doing this. Going to be giving this Vice Grip Garage Patina preserver a shot. We've already prepped this jewel. I inserted a lot of time lapse for that, so y'all can see that. What we've done is I used Scotch-Brite in the areas that were not so rusted, and 320 grit sandpaper in the areas that had pretty rough texture to them. And we've got this thing very smooth. I mean, it's real smooth to the touch. So what we're about to do is I've already washed it, I've degreased it, as the instructions say. Use like a dish detergent, something that will degrease the vehicle or whatever you're doing. So next, I'm gonna tack rag this thing off with one of the real sticky cow blue tack rags. Get all what little bit of grit that the hand washing didn't get off. Then we're gonna start applying this stuff. Just kind of wanted to fill y'all in on what we've done before we've made it to this step. It's been a good bit of work. I mean, not everybody does this. I think kind of the whole deal with this stuff is you can kind of just pull a car out of a field, wash it, and wipe it on. But I want it to be kind of smooth to the touch and look, you know, as good as we could possibly make it look. So now, like I said, we're gonna get this thing tacked down. I'll set y'all up and we'll start applying this stuff. And just when you're doing this stuff, it's always good to read the directions, not just once, but, you know, skim through them a couple good times, so that way you got it good memorized, because it's kind of a one-shot deal. Or if you got to do it again, it's going to be a lot of work to go backwards and redo this stuff. So just hang with me. All right, so now I got this thing good and tacked off. I'm ready to start applying this stuff. I'm kind of nervous, not gonna lie. One of the biggest things I'm worried about is the trim right here. You know, all this trim, I do not want to take it off, and I don't want to tape it off because there's just a lot of it, you know. So what I'm gonna try to do is I'm just gonna try to just, you know, get close to it, and if I get a little bit on it, I'll come back later with some lacquer thinner and get this stuff off. You know, I just hope that works. That's the only thing that I'm kind of iffy about. Other than that, this baby is ready. I know it's gonna look killer when it's done. We've done a lot of prep work. I gotta, you know, really thank my wife and my kids for helping me with this, because I mean, we've been working on this thing since like 9 o'clock this morning. And it's evening now, you know, so we've done a lot of sanding. As you can see, I've took the lights out. It's just, should be ready to go. So this stuff mixes at an 8-to-1 ratio. That's another thing I gotta thank my wife for. I've got her mixing, what is that, your measuring cup? She donated her measuring cup for this little project, you know. So I'm gonna mix, I'm gonna use milliliters. I'm gonna do 100 milliliters of the catalyst to 800 milliliters of the clear coat, and I'm gonna see how far that gets me. We're just gonna start putting it on. So we're all finished up with our wipe on patina on this beautiful rig here, and I want to talk about a few things with it. So I did the wipe on application. You can do spray on, you know, and just gonna go ahead and say it, I think the spray on would be much better. This wipe on was kind of, I mean, I kind of expected it to be a little bit better, just to be honest with you, but I also kind of knew, like, you're wiping on clear coat, so I mean, kind of, you know, how good could it really be? But it does say it's a self-leveling, so, you know, and I've used self-leveling polyurethane on wood a lot, and it finishes out real well. But the issue with this is, if in my experience with this, I did a lot of prep work. You know, I tacked this thing off real well. I didn't tape it off. You know, that's about the only thing I didn't do right, in my opinion. But it left a lot of streaks. Pretty much every, you know, I've done 2 coats too. Pretty much every stroke you can see streaks in this stuff. I tried putting it on thick, thin. You put it on thick on flat surfaces, it does better. But then when you try to put it on thick on your vertical surfaces, you know, you get runs, really bad runs. And I also done this at the temperature it specifies, 50 to 70 degrees. My metal was probably around the 65, 68 degree range whenever I done this. I done it in the shade. You know, I followed the instructions to a T. You know, that's all there is to that. I'm not saying it's a bad product by any means, but I do wish it was a little more I do wish it laid down a little bit better, is what I'm trying to say. Now I've got to resand this thing down, get all the runs, which the runs are my fault, but I've got to get it to where I can actually spray a clear coat on it. You know, something that'll preserve it and lay down and be slick like I want it to. I may, and honestly, I'm not ruling out buying more of this and spraying it on instead of wiping it on. I'm not ruling that out. I may do that because this is a patina preserver, so I'm sure it has a rust inhibitor in it, where most clear coats that you just spray do not have a rust inhibitor. But as far as wiping it on, I'm not gonna say don't do it, but it didn't work out real good for me, and I couldn't recommend it, just to be honest with you. But with that being said, I could have messed something up along the lines, and it, you know, completely goofed this whole thing. But I have read, you know, I'm good about reading stuff after the fact. I do something instead of doing all my research on the front end, and a lot of guys had the same issues that I'm having. One of the big issues is the applicator pad they send you will lint really bad. You got to dust it off real good. I used a tack rag on my second one and got all the lint off, and you know, I tried just took my time the second time, where the first time I kind of hurried through it, and I thought, okay, well, maybe I goofed the first time because I didn't, you know, take my time like I should have. Well, long story short, I scuffed the whole car down again, just like you're supposed to do, or just like, you know, the instructions say to do for the second coat. And the second coat didn't really go on any better than the first coat. It instead of, you know, running my lines kind of like this, you know, I did, you know, strokes on my second coat, and it just didn't turn out like I thought it was going to. But and this stuff is the same. This is the Vice Grip Garage, and like I said, I'm not knocking Derek by any means. I love watching his videos and all, so don't think I'm doing that. It's made by Poppy's Patina. I mean, and I kind of speculated it was the same, but you can see right there, it says it on the can right there. So, but one thing I will say about this stuff is this aluminum trim, I might regret it later on, but I was trying to keep it off the trim. I mentioned that earlier in my video, and I ended up going over the aluminum trim, and man, it made it look new. So that is very impressive about it. And it is really easy to do. I mean, if you just, like I said earlier in the video, if you pull something out of a field, scuff it down, and your expectations are not way up here, wipe this stuff on, man, and it'll be good for you. It'll do you right. But if you're wanting kind of what I wanted, like not a show car finish, but you want something that every time you see it, you're like, dang, that looks good. It's the wipe on. It's not going to do that, or it didn't for me. You know, like I said, I'm sure other people's had different experiences with it, but as I stated earlier, it just did not do that for me. I think now, I do not have a doubt in my mind, if you spray it on and you do all your prep work, it's gonna lay down nice. But I will get the camera and walk y'all around this thing and show you. And I'll try to get some angles to see if you can see the streaks. Let's check it out. So I mean, just at a glance, look, you can see, if you look, you can see the streaks. They're very visible right now. I mean, just at a glance though, this sucker does not look bad. I mean, and like I said, this trim, I mean, just look at that. I wish I would have had some better before pictures. I mean, this stuff is like new. And you can see, you can pretty much see the streaks right there. I mean, there's some of it, it seems like the vertical surfaces do better. Like right here, this looks awesome. And I mean, really all down through this side looks good. You know, it really does. I mean, it does do a good job at, you know, on some things. But I mean, like I said, it's hard to not see that. You can't unsee that. And then right here, you can actually see, you can see the vertical streaks really bad. You can also see some horizontal, you know. That's just one good thing about it. Like I said, man, this trim, it just made this trim really pop. That's kind of the, you know, why I'm just not giving this a slap negative review, if you want me to just be honest with you, is just how good it done on the trim. And it done this, you know, this foam, plastic, rubber molding, whatever it is that, you know, Ford used these years, it done real well on that too. You can see, let me see if I can, you can actually see streaks right there too. And like I said, I've done this twice, guys. Like, I mean, I really tried to do my best on this. And let's be honest, this is not a show car. I didn't want a show car. I was not expecting a show car, but I was expecting, like I said, something whenever I look at it, I think, dang, that looks killer. You know, that really, I wouldn't have minded a few flaws here or there, but pretty much every flat surface on this thing has streaks. And that's just tough on the eyes. But with all that being said, I'm gonna rock this thing out like it is until I, you know, feel like ordering, until I really just know what I'm gonna do next. So take this review just with a grain of salt, you know. I mean, don't be afraid to try it, but don't expect a show car gloss clear coat finish with this stuff unless you spray it on. If you spray it on, like I said, I have no doubt it'll do good for you. But I mean, at the end of the day, it's a $125 wipe on clear coat primer, guys. I mean, paint jobs cost $30,000 and $40,000 for a reason. This is $125 preservative, you know, so it's, and I mean, it just is what it is. But I hope y'all enjoyed the video. Don't take this as a bash in this product. I'm just giving you my experience with it. And have a good one. Thank y'all for watching.